Welcome to RAIN, the Real Estate Investor Growth Network with your hostess, Jen Josie. Join like-minded real estate investors and accelerate your business towards greatness. You will hear step-by-step strategies for success, interviews with real estate rock stars, and we will dig deep into past projects where we bear it all, including the good, the bad, and some just plain ugly. So get excited. Here's the bestower of badassery herself, the real Jen Josie. Listener discretion is advised.
Hi, and welcome back. I'm Jen Josie, creator of RAIN, the Real Estate Investor Growth Network. Whoop, whoop! On today's episode, we have a special guest that will be sharing one of their past projects. We will let you decide if it was good or bad or just plain ugly. But before we begin, here's today's badassery bestowment, my little badass gift to you. A lot of new investors have a hard time finding properties that could possibly be purchased below market value. What they don't realize is that you just may be helping someone out of an overwhelming situation. As an investor, it's your job to help them find a solution. Here are a few examples of motivated sellers. Empty nesters looking to downsize who don't want to do any updates. A relative that's possibly inherited a property. A tired landlord, a couple going through a divorce, a seller that is behind on some payments, an elderly homeowner moving to a retirement community, people that simply don't want to deal with realtors, someone who is moving due to a job relocation, and probably the most common is a person with too many repairs and not enough money or time to deal with it. So, when you find one of these motivated sellers, the next step is to build trust to put that seller at ease. You must position yourself as the expert so they know you are there to help them out of their overwhelming situation. Now, on to today's episode of the Real Estate Investor Growth Network podcast. We have with us a friend of mine that I met shortly after starting my real estate investment business. He's much younger than me, but well beyond his years as an investor. He's also a RAIN member. Whoop, whoop!
Whoop, whoop.
Yes! So welcome to the show, Oscar Gomez. Woohoo!
Thanks for having me.
Yay! So happy to have you here. And by the way, folks, I had to beg him for the longest time. He's this young hotshot and does these crazy, amazing modern homes. I'm like, please, come on. I want you to talk about it. But before we get into that, tell us a little background on you, Oscar.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry it took me so long to get here.
I know. TikTok, buddy.
Yeah, so again, my name is Oscar Gomez. My family.
Are you Irish? Is that an Irish name?
I'm not Irish, unfortunately. So yeah, my family's from Mexico. I actually grew up in Graham, North Carolina, which is pretty much in between Durham and Greensboro. And I got started in real estate back in 2014. We created a company that's now known as Gilded Homes with a good college friend of mine, Ronald Rojas, which I know you know, Jen.
Ronald, I love. Yes, keep going.
And yeah, I mean, we were pretty much fresh out of college. We both went to UNC Chapel Hill, both graduated with a business degree, and we just decided to go in head first. So that's pretty much the background of how I got started and really the background of the Gilded Homes as well. Over the years, kind of done it all, anywhere from wholesaling to small, mid-level rehabs, new construction, rentals as well. So
I got to tell a quick little story before we begin. Oscar, I met at a local meetup group, but we went to a conference in Vegas. And I heard that he was a general contractor. And you were what, like 13, 14 at the time?
Pretty much,
okay.
Yeah.
And so I was like, what? You're a general contractor? And my husband and I had just gotten our first property under contract, and we were going to expand and at about 900 square feet. But we kept getting ghosted by these general contractors. And here's Oscar and Ronald. And so we went to Top Golf out in Vegas because, there's nothing else to do in Vegas. And got him a little tipsy, folks, and said, I totally convinced him to be our GC for this first project. He does not GC for anybody else, but I'm like, again, got him to do the handshake while he was completely drunk. So it was well spent money on the alcohol that evening. And he did our first project for us. And you have never GC'd for anyone since then, have you? Anyone else?
Not before, not after.
So I am forever grateful for you. I learned so much from you. I've met some great contractors through you. So you are definitely a very special friend to me. So thank you. Thank you. All right. So let's get into what's that?
So thanks for the kind words.
Oh, yes. You held my hand through that whole deal and learned so much. And I truly, truly appreciate it. It's definitely made me a better rehabber, from working with you. So thanks. All right. So you are going to talk about one of your past projects. So let's hear about it. Give me a property description, how many beds and baths, what year was it built, etc.
Yeah, so this is actually, this is a very special project. It's actually one of the first new construction builds that we did.
Oh, this was new construction. So you had a lot.
Construction, yep.
Okay, gotcha.
And pretty much the end product, it actually changed from the time that we bought the property to the final thing. But yeah, basically the final product ended up being a really nice contemporary home, around 1,900 square feet, 2-story, 3 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms, and a 1-car garage.
All right. So normally I talk to people who talk about projects that, it's a rehab. So this is a first for, our past projects episode, but this is great that we're talking about a new build here. So what goes into getting a new build? You have to buy the land. I know the permits are different, but you have to have hookups for water and electric and all that fun stuff. So how does that work?
Yeah, so the process isn't too different. It's just more steps, of course. Luckily, so I guess a little bit of background on this specific project. We were actually doing a renovation project down the street when we first bought it. So we started off the street doing a small reno. That was back in, I want to say 2017, maybe 2016. But yeah, so we were doing that one. And of course, as we're working on that project, we're looking for additional properties in the area. So we ended up locking this one up. And the idea was to do a small new construction property there.
Was there a building already there, or it was just a lot?
So this was just a vacant lot. There was a small house back in 2015. So about, at the time it was 3 or so years before, meaning that utilities were already on site. So we didn't have to pay for that, which I believe, now you'll probably spend around $10,000 in order to get that hooked up with the city. And as I learned, it takes a while for the city to do those type of things. So what a lot of people do, they actually hire private companies in order to put that in for you, which of course it gets more expensive. But yeah, overall, so yeah, going back to the background on this project, we had a JV partner on the first renovation project. We bought this one with that same JV partner. Throughout the course of that, we actually ended up buying our partners out just because, things weren't working out, and they were also going through some challenges within their company. So we both decided that it was best if we bought them out of the deal. So that's what we did. And again, as time went by, we changed a couple of things. The original house that was supposed to go on there was only supposed to be 1,200 square feet, one level ranch. And that transformed into this crazy idea that I had about just creating a very nice contemporary house there. And the idea was to get a couple going at the same time.
Okay, so you're renovating a property down the block from here, and you see that it's an empty lot, a vacant lot, and you went to the city to find out about it. How did you find the owner for this vacant lot?
Yes, we contacted the owner directly. So within our company, we do a lot of marketing in order to find off-market properties where we deal directly with the seller. And so, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much Ronald's job. And, he was able to contact the owner. We settled on a price and purchased the lot.
How much was the lot?
So the original price was around $50,000, I think. But once we bought out our JV partner, we ended up paying around $80,000 all in.
Okay. And how much were the drawings for the house that you put on there? I mean, I'm just assuming you have to know what you're putting on, so you got to pay someone to create that for you. So how much did all that cost?
Yeah, so for the drawings, we actually got a pretty good deal. I met an architect that year, and he gave us a really good deal on that. So I believe the drawings ended up being around $4,000 or $5,000.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
And that's with the engineering fee and everything.
Okay. So you're all in right now for about $85,000, and then you got to build it. Do you do a certain price per square foot? How does that work? How do you estimate what it's going to cost to build what turned into a 1,900 square foot home?
So basically the original idea, again, that's why I said that, things changed quite a bit. So originally we're estimating to spend around $200,000 on this house. And again, as we were going through the design phase, with the architect, that number kind of changed because, we noticed we needed a little bit more space in order to get everything that we wanted to get in there. The original house wasn't supposed to have a garage. We added the garage. So yeah, to answer your question, $200,000 was our initial project cost.
Okay. And so what did you think the estimated ARV or after repair value is going to be?
So we're shooting for $425,000.
All right. And $425,000. So how did you finance this?
Yeah, so we used a private money lender.
And they funded the entire deal?
They funded about 90% of it, again, with our original budget. So all in, I believe our loan was around $250,000, $260,000.
Okay. And what percentage rate were you paying?
We did 12%.
All right. So what was your projected timeline for this project?
So our projected timeline was 12 months.
I got to ask this question. So I remember a time you and I were driving in the car. I can't remember where we were going. And you were showing me, we were probably going to the bar, honestly. Because that's
sure we were, actually.
Actually, I do remember now where we were going.
I think that was with a friend of mine, right?
Yes.
Yep. So went to the bar.
Okay. So we drove past, and you said that you were showing me these modern homes. Now, I love a craftsman. I just love the old traditional everything. And you kept showing me these properties. I'm like, what the hell, Oscar? These are so ugly. But you really opened my eyes to it and by the way, they're not ugly. It's just, it kind of sticks out because you're in between two traditional craftsman style homes, and then there's this modern home. You said there was a woman who kept building these, and that's who kind of inspired you. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And so I started looking at the inside of these properties and thinking, holy shit, these are really, really nice. And you also, because it's contemporary and modern, you do a lot of upgrades, and it's very green, correct? That's the term that a lot of people like. Is this the house where it had all the green things?
Yeah. So in our strategy, in order to be able to sell these quicker, and for, the price per square foot that we were shooting for, we decided to get these green home certified. And so, yeah, a lot of that just has to do with the way you build it, anywhere from the type of framing that you do to what's most important is the insulation as well as the HVAC. All of that is a system. I mean, it's a lot of things. Even like the way that the type of lot that you purchase, that's all important, and you get points for buying an infill lot, which is in this case what it was.
And what makes a property green?
Basically, it's a very energy efficient home.
Energy efficient. Okay.
And again, it's a lot of things, but basically, you're just looking for ways to save the environment, right? So,
good.
Down from the type of lot that we choose. So if we have a lot like this one, which was an infill lot, meaning that it's already an existing lot and it's just, between a couple of houses, then that'll help with our green home certification, as well as, like I was saying, the type of lumber that we use. So if you use engineered lumber versus, your typical dimensional lumber, that stuff also makes it, qualified towards the green home certification.
Awesome. And that's in the listing that it's green home certified?
Yes.
Something new I learned. And I'm also assuming that to make a property a green certified property, it's going to cost you a hell of a lot more. Am I right in assuming that to build it?
Yeah, it does cost a little bit more. It's also a different process because we have a third party inspector that comes in and does those inspections for us and makes sure that we did what we said we were going to do. The other cool thing about this house is that it's also solar ready, meaning that we did certain things in order to make it so that the future homeowner, if they want to put in solar panels, they can easily do that because it's already integrated into the building.
I love that. Very cool. All right. So we got your numbers all clear. We're estimating that this is going to take 12 months. You are building what you think at the start is about an 1,800 square foot property, and you've borrowed about $250,000. So you get started. What happens from here? Were there any surprises? I doubt, because all projects are completely smooth. So what were some surprises that happened along the way?
Yeah, so I think the surprises actually started before we even got to build. It just took a while to get through some permits. There was also a stormwater drainage pipe that we had to deal with, which was what really took us a long time to get our permits, which, again, we knew that it was on the property, but, just dealing with the city, they'll tell you one thing, and then later they might change their mind, or someone new will be the head of that department, or just your project, and, things change, which it's a hassle. And so, it took us a while to get that building permit. What we were hoping would be, 30 to 45 days turned into about four or so months, which, kills us on our timeline.
Right.
And also even just going through the design itself, that took a while as well. But I would say you really have to consider just a delay with getting your permits whenever you're doing a new build in Durham.
Gotcha. I know.
Really anywhere.
I know. Don't just say just Durham, because it happens everywhere. All right. So you're building the project, and how is the timeline going along? So now you're already delayed 4 or 5 months. You finally start. Does it go smoothly going up? What happened during the creating of this house?
Yeah. So, once we got our permit, we were pretty excited that we're finally building something, right? I would say everything was pretty smooth up until we got to our roughing stage. At that point, we took a little while just due to some contractor issues, subcontractor, I should say, because I was the contractor on it. And so, just having good subs is really important. And some of those guys really let me down, and it led to a couple of delays here and there. Also, it was also a learning experience, especially with the green home certification, given that it was our first new construction at that. And also the first home that we're getting green home certified. So, we kind of had to learn those things as we went. But, overall, it wasn't a bad build. I believe we took about 8 months start to finish from the first time that we started messing with the dirt all the way to the end when we got CO.
Okay. So that's about 12 months total to, when you bought it, to then when you listed it. So you were guessing to list it about $425. So it's a year later now. Have the prices changed? What did you end up listing it for?
Yeah, so we finished this project in July of 2019, which is when we listed the property. Again, a couple of things had changed, including the size of it. So we actually went and listed at 520, I believe.
Wow, that's much higher.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So how long was it on the market?
So it was on the market for a while. So we got a lot of interest, but it was the only property on the street at the time. We We actually had another one across the street that we're getting ready to build. Actually, by the time this was listed, I believe that one was in framing stage already. And so we had a challenging street. There was a lot of noise. Some of our neighbors liked to party very late at night. So it was difficult to get someone to put it under contract, despite all these challenges. Everyone loved the house.
Yeah, I was curious what people would say because, like me, who was like, "Oh, that's ugly," but it actually it was gorgeous inside. And when I say ugly, and let me just explain. So there's lots of angles on the outside. It just does not look like a traditional home. It's very unique, and like I said, it was gorgeous once it was completed. So, what was the feedback from people? You said everyone loved it because that's the type of buyer who, there's a large pool of them from what I've learned from you that prefer those over the others. And there's not many out there who are doing these modern homes, not that I know of. And here you provided this amazing product. So tell me what the feedback was.
Yeah. So again, the feedback on the house itself was great. Everybody loved it. Even the price, I believe, we got one or two people that said that the price was actually too low, which we thought was interesting. But yeah, it took a while to get it under contract. So I believe we listed in July. We went under contract in November. And at that point, we had dropped the price to $495.
All right. So what did you end up selling it for?
So the final sales price was $460.
Okay. Very good. All right. So let's break down these numbers here. So your estimated budget was in the beginning about $200,000. What did you end up spending?
$250.
Oof. Okay. But you had borrowed $250. So how did you get that extra money?
So some of it was our own cash. We actually had a good friend of ours invest into the property as well.
Okay.
And yeah, the rest of it was from our own cash.
Okay. And what was the interest that you ended up paying? I know you said it was at 12%. So 12% at, what was that, 18, 19 months?
Mm-hmm.
So what was the interest that you paid for your private money lender?
So all in, we ended up paying around $50,000 in interest.
Woo, goodness. What were the holding costs?
Yeah, so the holding costs, I'm actually not sure. That's actually built into our total construction cost. Okay. So we just put those in there as well.
And how about commissions to realtors?
Yep, commissions were $23,000.
My goodness. And Ronald ended up listing it though, correct? So he was your business partner?
For that one, we had a listing agent for that one.
Okay. And we've done that as well, just because we need the help with the marketing. So you paid out $23,000 to your listing agent and to the buyer's agent.
That's right.
Okay. And closing costs, you remember how much those were?
Those were around $1,500.
And then the sale price you said was $460?
$460, yeah.
And so what was your total profit on this property?
Total profit was around $50,000.
Sweet. You get double cha-ching on that one, especially for a modern home. So that is very, very impressive. And I bet the buyers were super excited that they were buying this green home. And how many buyers are out there in that market, by the way? I'm just curious.
Meaning what?
Like, are there a ton of people that are jumping on it because the fact that it's a green home, or?
Yeah. So, while we were marketing this property, a couple of people actually reached out to us, wanting us to do a custom build for them, which is interesting, right? Because we were trying to sell this one, but we had probably a dozen people reach out to us asking us if we would do a custom home for them. I would say there's a lot of people that are interested in this product. Our target audience or target buyer for this was, kind of the young professional, someone that's working in either Durham or kind of that RTP area. And yeah, that's pretty much what we ended up finding here.
I love it. Great job on that. So after completing this project, what were your main takeaways?
I would say the main takeaway is just, take into account just the time that you're going to spend in the permitting phase. And also, I would say if you can, have a design ready, that helps out a lot. Because, I mean, again, we had an idea of what we wanted, and I was actually very involved in that process as well, just because I had something very clear in my mind. But again, that takes time. So designing and permitting, that takes a good chunk of your time. So I believe, in this one, we could have saved 5 to 6 months just trying to figure out something very early on, even because we could have been working on this while we were still in the deal with our JV partners.
So, silly question here. If you are buying a lot, a vacant lot, can you just take any design and put it there? Or does it have to be, there's like a footprint, I guess? Was there already a foundation there? Because you said there was a house there years ago, but how does that work? Can you just plop any house onto that lot, or do you have to change things due to the lot?
I wish you could. Yeah, so you have what's called setback requirements. So, depending on the lot, depending on the zoning, you'll look on the city's website and just look at what those standards are. So, for this one, we had someone custom design a home, but if you wanted, you could look online and just find the floor plan that fits with your lot, but it does have to be within those setbacks.
Okay, explain to our listeners what a setback is.
So setbacks are basically how far off you have to be from your property line. So you have a front setback, side setbacks, and rear setbacks. So in our case, I think we had to be 20 feet from the front. So meaning from the front lot line of your plot of land, you have to be 20 feet away. On the sides, I believe we had to be 6 feet on each side. 6 feet on one side minimum, total 15. So 6 on one side, 9 on the other. And then in the back, I'm pretty sure it was 25. And so if your house is anywhere within those setbacks, then you're good to go. It can be smaller. It just can't be bigger than that.
And a lot line is not necessarily where the street is. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yes, because I've heard people assume that's where the lot line is, but it's actually like 5 or 6 feet back because maybe they're putting in a sidewalk eventually or whatever. So
make sure you get a survey.
Yep, definitely. And by the way, I still use the same surveyor guy that you referred me to. So
you too.
Shout out to Herbie. All right. So for future projects, do you do anything different now after completing this project?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one thing is just, having a better team, as well as just being cognizant of the fact that, things with the city will take time. And at the end of the day, it's your project, so you have to take control. So if you have to be just persistent with the city, that's what you have to do. Don't be afraid to be a pain in the ass, which is what I felt sometimes like I was being, just because, I was at the permitting office probably every week, if not multiple times a week, just trying to get stuff done. And I mean, again, it's your project, right? They're not going to care if you lose money on it or not. So if you have to be there every week, just making things happen, that's what you have to do.
Well, fantastic project. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. I definitely learned a lot. So thank you. And I really want to start investigating greenhouses now. Or green certification. I think that would be neat. So the second half of the show, we do what makes you a badass. And clearly, Oscar, you are a total badass. So I use the acronym BADASS. And for the letter B, I want to know a book that has made a huge difference in your life.
Yeah, so I actually read this book a few years back. I need to probably read it again, but it's called How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie.
Very nice. That's a popular one. What did you learn from the book?
Really, for me, it was a mindset change. Just, learning how to talk to people and in order to, I guess, influence them as far as what you want to take away, and just overall being a better listener. And, that takes you a long way.
I find it's easy to influence people with alcohol. You can have that nugget.
That works as well.
All right. The first A in badass is advice. What's the best piece of advice you ever received?
Best piece of advice is to focus on yourself and not others, meaning don't compare your successes or even failures to what others are having, which can be really hard. I mean, I'm definitely guilty of that, but I would say that's the best piece of advice.
That's awesome. And you work with your best friend, and I'm sure that's got to be tough at times.
It is, but I think it's also great because we're very real with each other. I mean, we'll, tell each other the truth, how it is without filters. And so I think that's important.
I love that.
That helps us thrive.
I think that's awesome. I really respect the two of you. The D in badass is drive. What drives you to be successful?
For me, I'm very big on family. So everything that I've ever done has been for my parents. They sacrificed a lot when I was younger. I remember them pretty much working all the time to, take care of me and help me get where I am today. And so just want to make sure that they're taken care of. Someone put it a couple of weeks ago, I'm basically their retirement plan. So trying to make things happen.
You're such a good guy. Oh, I love it. All right. The second A in badass is aspiration. What's a goal you are currently working on?
So that one's interesting. I'm actually just working on, I guess, breaking out of my shell. Feel like I've been very introverted, growing up and just, over the past few years. And so big reason why I'm on your podcast today is to help me with that. And so one of my big goals for this year is just to be more active on social media. Thought about starting a TikTok. Don't know yet, but I definitely want to start a YouTube channel just to document my journey. Because these past few months we've been on reset mode within our company, and so I actually thought about starting the YouTube channel and just documenting everything from this reset point.
So let's take a second to talk about that. So you and Ronald have decided to take your business a different direction. What direction is that?
So we're focusing strictly on wholesaling.
And how do I know this?
Well, we actually just wholesaled you a property the other day.
Yes, you did. I am so excited. Oscar, I appreciate it so much. So for the listeners out there, I love a townhome or condo. I can flip them in 5 to 7 days. And he just reached out to me and said, hey, I have this townhome. I'm like, I'm in. So we saw it a couple hours later, and then we signed the paperwork.
Very excited for you.
Yeah, I'm very excited that you are going to be doing more of these because it's a great project and you left a lot of meat on the bone. But I've said that phrase so much lately. I don't even know why I keep saying it. But it's beneficial for you because you made money off this one, but it's definitely beneficial for us. So working with wholesalers who understand the investor and what they're looking for. So I think you and Ronald are going to be absolutely fantastic at this and super excited for you to keep bringing me some properties.
Yeah, absolutely. We look forward to it as well.
Yes. All right. So the first S in badass is systems. What systems do you have in place that help you to achieve success?
Yeah. So, going this route of focusing on wholesaling, we really needed a good CRM. And so we actually just started using Podio in order to just keep all of our leads in there and just know where they came from, know, if they closed or not, if they went under contract. So it really gives us a full overview of how things are going within the company.
The last S is success. So what does success mean to you?
For me, it means genuinely being happy, enjoying life, and loving what you do.
Awesome. Do you love what you do?
I do.
I believe it. And I'm honored to call you friend. So how do the listeners find you? Do you have a name for your YouTube channel yet?
Not yet. That's still in the works, but I'll let you know if, really, I'm supposed to get it done this week. So hopefully by the time this rolls out, you'll have it. But yeah, I'm on Instagram as the Real Estate Bro.
The Real Estate Bro. Very nice.
Real Estate Bro. The username is the THE.RE.BRO.
Perfect. And the name of your company is Gilded Homes. And what is special about Gilded Homes, by the way? Don't you do yellow doors? Or did you stop doing that?
We don't do yellow doors.
Oh, did you do it at one point? Oh, that's your logo, though, is a yellow door because it's gold.
So Gilded Homes, that's the company that I have with Ronald. That's our investments company. Now my general contractor company, that's Golden Door Development.
Oh, gotcha.
That's what you're thinking about.
That's what I'm thinking about. All right.
Yeah.
Well, you have been a pleasure to have on the show. Thank you so very much. That is all. Thank you for listening, and we will catch you on the next episode. Now go out there and share your badassery. And don't forget, make it a great day. Take care. Bye-bye. Whoop, whoop.
Whoop, whoop.
Yes!
Thank you for listening to RAIN, the Real Estate Investor Growth Network. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform so you never miss an episode. If you need more badassery, you can follow Jen Josie by visiting therealjenjosie.com or become a member of RAIN by registering on rainmastermind.com.